In the eastern provinces of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, specifically in North Kivu and South Kivu, a brutal conflict is deeply entangled with the control and trade of strategic in response to Western semiconductor sanctions. The ripple effect was immediate. Chip manufacturers in Japan, South Korea, and the US faced shortages. Likewise, Russia's dominance in nickel and palladium allows it to counter sanctions by tightening exports. These are not traditional wars, but supply chain wars, fought with regulations, embargoes, and market manipulation instead of missiles. Through these three stages, minerals become the modern equivalents of nuclear deterrents. Small nations can gain disproportionate power by controlling critical materials, and superpowers can project influence by monopolizing refining capacity. This triad, Control Conversion Coercion, defines the architecture of mineral conflict today. It explores why mining zones attract militias, why refineries attract sanctions, and why the world's most advanced weapons ultimately depend on the stability of a few remote, unstable regions. The mineral wars revolve around a select group of elements that underpin the modern economy and military technology. These minerals are not just economic resources, they are strategic enablers determining who leads in clean energy, AI hardware, aerospace, and defense. Each one shapes global dependencies and alliances in distinct ways. Let's talk about the first one of these, lithium. Lithium-ion batteries power everything from electrical vehicles to drones and energy grids. Global demand is projected to triple by 2030, driven by decarbonization goals. Yet, production is geopolitically concentrated. Over 70% of reserves lie in the lithium triangle of Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina. China has invested heavily in these fields through companies like Ganfeng and Tencani Lithium, securing long-term contracts for processing. The United States and Europe remain dependent on imports, with the Nevada's Thacker Pass mine still years away from full operation. This makes lithium not just an energy metal, but a lever of geopolitical dependence. 2. Cobalt. Over 70% of global cobalt supply comes from the DRC, particularly Katanga province. Artisanal mining accounts for nearly 50% of output and is often linked with child labor and militia control. Multinational corporations, including Chinese refiners and Western battery firms, rely on this cobalt for EV and aerospace production. Despite traceability programs like the Cobalt Refinery Supply Chain Due Diligence Standard, smuggling into Zambia and Tanzania continues. The paradox is sharp. Cobalt powers the green transition between the black market and violence. Third, rare earth elements. There are 17 rare earth elements essential to precision-guided missiles, fighter jet magnets, radar systems, and renewable energy. China controls around 85% of global refining capacity, a position built over 3 decades of industrial policy. In 2020, Beijing hinted at export restrictions against US defense manufacturers, a reminder that rare earths are the nuclear option of the trade policy. The West has explored alternatives. The Mountain Pass mine in California, Lenas in Australia, and new Canadian deposits, yet none match China's integrated dominance from mining to processing. 4. Nickel and graphite. Industrial core of energy storage is nickel. Nickel gives batteries density and lifespan. Graphite conducts the charge. Indonesia has risen as a nickel powerhouse after banning raw ore exports and forcing local refining, attracting massive Chinese and Korean investment. Graphite, mostly refined in China, became a choke point when Beijing restricted exports in 2024, citing national security. These two minerals together form the structural bones of battery technology, making any disruption catastrophic for EV and defense supply chains. And the fifth, uranium and titanium. Uranium ensures nuclear energy independence and weapons deterrence. Kazakhstan leads in production, but Russian firm Rosatom dominates global enrichment capacity, a silent strategic hold over Western nuclear programs. Titanium, used in aircraft and missiles, has recently gained attention after Ukraine's deposits. Through international interest, the US imports significant volumes from Russia, underscoring how supply vulnerabilities cut across even adversarial lines. These five mineral clusters form the new global hierarchy. Whoever defines them commands industrial destiny. The 21st century's mineral map is no longer about abundance. It's about control of conversion. Those who master processing, not just mining, will define the new order of economic and military power. The mineral wars are not fought on traditional battlegrounds. They unfold silently across regions once seen as peripheral: Africa, Latin America, and even the Arctic. Each has become a strategic chessboard where global powers contest not for land but for the raw materials that sustain their economies and militaries. Africa holds over 30% of the world's mineral reserves, including cobalt, platinum, manganese, and rare earths. China's presence on the continent has been overwhelming. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, it built railways, ports, and energy grids in exchange for mining concessions. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, Chinese companies control almost 70% of cobalt extraction through joint ventures like Sicko Mines. Meanwhile, the US and EU have launched mineral security partnerships to counter this dominance, but these remain mostly at the diplomatic stage. A new form of colonialism has emerged: infrastructure for resources. It provides roads and loans but extracts long-term control. African leaders face a moral dilemma: development through dependency or autonomy through sacrifice. The Lithium Triangle, comprising Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile, holds over 60% of the world's lithium reserves. But the region's politics are fragmenting the global lithium order. Bolivia nationalized lithium extraction under Evo Morales, rejecting foreign control. Chile, under Gabriel Boric, adopted a stop partnership model, while Argentina remains open to private investors. China again dominates processing facilities and investment, while Western companies try to re-enter through ethical supply chains. However, environmental backlash is rising. Local communities in Atacama protest against water depletion from brine extraction. The paradox is bitter. The green revolution depends on environmentally destructive mining in fragile ecosystems. The final frontier is the melting ice region, the Arctic region. The Arctic is estimated to contain 30% of undiscovered oil, 30% of natural gas, and vast reserves of rare earths, nickel, and uranium. Russia, Canada, and the US are already positioning military and economically to take advantage of this. Russia has built new Arctic bases and expanded its northern fleet. China calls itself a near-Arctic state and is investing in Greenland's rare earth projects. As the polar ice melts, what was once a frozen desert becomes a Cold War corridor for minerals and energy routes. The US Geological Survey already classifies the Arctic as a strategic mineral region. Yet every new drill disturbs ecosystems that regulate Earth's climate, making this a war between immediate energy needs and a long-term planetary survival. These frontiers also marked the rise of a corporate state hybrid warfare model. Mining giants like Glencore, BHP, and Rio Tinto compete not only with nations but also serve as their geopolitical arms. China's state-backed corporations blur the line between business and foreign policy. In contrast, Western firms operate through financial markets often detached from national strategy. The result is asymmetry. One side plays geopolitics, the other plays a quarterly profits. Africa's mineral wealth is pushing new partnerships like BRICS to establish resource-based blocks. Lithium-rich countries in Latin America discuss forming an OPEC of lithium. Meanwhile, Russia and China coordinate Arctic routes under the Polar Silk Road Initiative. The world is no longer divided by ideology but by resource architecture. Whoever builds it, the refineries, logistics, and data around mineral flows gains not only economic strength but the ability to set the rules of civilization itself.